Hi there. Today we're going to be discussing zero moment retail, the sales, science, and success of automotive retail. I'm Jennifer Briggs. I am the Director of Dealer Strategy for the Cardinale Group of companies. What exactly is the Cardinale Group of companies? Well, I'm glad you asked. We are comprised of three different business units. First and foremost, Cardinale Automotive Group. Then we have a digital marketing investment management company, which is ZMod Auto. We'll talk about that a little bit more later. And we are rounding out our three companies with the Cardinale Automotive Group Vehicle Supply Company. For our automotive group, we are 19 rooftops now, and we represent 10 different OEM brands covering 3 states, California, Arizona, and Nevada. So as an automotive group, I will share with you that we were, like many other groups or stores prior to the market crashing in 2008, we were basically fat, rich, and good looking. We were brick and mortar dealerships. We were founded in 1979, and we had grown through acquisition and through following market trends for sales, and our investments followed along with that. So folks, so many of you who were in automotive at that point in time and in the retail side when the market crashed in 2008, you know that the way that we invested our dollars following the market trends really left a lot of us ill-prepared. We were not operating efficiently. Our expenses were high. We were investing tens of thousands of dollars. In some areas, for bigger groups like us, we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars in advertising investments. And we found ourselves in a bad situation. We actually lost some franchises. We were able to move a lot of employees, but we were not able to move all of them. So we lost members of our family when the market crashed, and we found ourselves pretty much insolvent. We were borrowing from our lenders, our vendor partners, just because those were the terms. We were paying later, and it was by the grace of God that we did survive and come out on the other side of that. So coming out on the other side of that, guys, we, just like many of you, went to conferences, watched webinars, were trying to learn how to be better. We couldn't afford to invest in the same types of advertising that we had been. So, given our second chance, we showed up at a conference, our entire executive management team, and we took notes, and we got better, and we asked questions, and we had other dealers that helped us. And those efforts were greatly rewarded. We found ourselves, after putting together what is our digital strategy, we found ourselves quickly in 2013. We were 7th on the Ward's e-dealer list, meaning we had the 7th highest internet sales volume in North America. Then 2014, we moved up to 5th place. 2015, we were in 4th place. And I am ridiculously excited to say that for 2016, we are the 2nd highest internet sales volume group in North America. So we're going to talk about how we did that. That's what I'm talking about, folks, when I say zero moment retail. A lot of people who've been in the business for a long time are like, what is this girl talking about? Zero moment retail. What does that mean? Well, let's talk about that. Zero moment of truth. You guys know this. This was a study that Google put out in 2011 saying that buyers are going to reach a point in their cycle when they're ready to buy. So we shifted our strategy, and that's why our second company is named Zero Moment of Truth, because it is our marketing investment management branch or division or company. This was our internal marketing and process department that a couple years ago we decided to because so many dealers helped us along the way, we decided that we would branch out and start offering to assist other dealers who raise their hand and say they're ready to make a change in how they do business. Our third company, the Vehicle Supply Group. So any of you go to ride and drive events, right? Those vehicles are ours. When you get in there and you drive it like you stole it, that's one of my cars. We have a great network. It's fantastic. We work with dealers all over the country. So if we're doing a ride and drive event in Kentucky and my stores are primarily in California, I may just call one of you if you've got a store nearby and buy a vehicle from you so that we can use it for the ride and drive. I'm not going to ship my cars from California. Just telling you that. So you know my contact information is included below in case I need to call you for a car. So one thing you're going to notice if you go back and look at our three companies, each and every single company's logo has an interlocking CW. That is indicative of our brand promise. At Cardinale Group of Companies, our brand promise is we develop outstanding relationships where everybody wins. All of our employees in all of our companies, all of our associates, they all know that this is what we strive for every day. In our interactions amongst each other, in our client interactions, in our buyer interactions, in every single thing that we do, we are working to develop outstanding relationships where everybody wins. And if everybody doesn't win, we don't do it because that's a hard thing to face, right? So often we put effort into things and it may or may not be the best thing for us, but because we feel like we have an obligation, then we continue. But what we say is we have to develop an outstanding relationship. We should never feel like it's an obligation. In that is a really great segue to what I want to talk to you about. Because so often when speakers come to talk to you about different things, they are very, very polite and very surface level sometimes, right? They're giving us statistics, they're doing this, they're doing that. And I just want to tell you right now, I'm going to make an upfront commitment to you, an upfront contract. We are all here in this room as automotive dealers. And so I'm going to say, unless your direct competitor is in this room right now and you don't want to share, that we're here on a collegiate level. I'm going to share with you some things that we've learned, and we're going to be open and honest. So it won't be surface level. You should do this, you should do that. I'm probably going to, as another car dealer, I'm going to be honest with you about the things that we discovered. And I'm going to tell you right now, folks, they were not pretty. And I know that it is hard to admit when you're talking about your business that there are parts that are broken. But I'm making this contract and this commitment to you that I am going to be honest to you about it because I know we found it, and it happens in dealerships all over the country. But if we can't be honest with each other and talk about it, I really can't help. So I will tell you some stuff you may not want to hear, but I really, really trust that you're going to take this and you're going to take it to heart and you're going to go back and you're going to look at your operations with a different set of eyes. When you take everything that you've learned throughout your conferences and your webinars and you sit back and you look honestly at your operations from an efficiency standpoint, just like we did, you're going to find things that you're not happy about. And that's okay. We are 100% responsible to take action on the things that we find. But if we aren't honest with our view, then it makes it difficult. And when we come to these things, that's what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be learning information that will help us to be more efficient and more profitable, right? That's why we're here. That's why we make the investment. But I will say to you that learning without doing is not learning at all. So if we come here and we write all this stuff down, we learn about it, and we go back to our stores and we don't do anything, or our perspective's not changed, and we don't look for ways to be more profitable and apply what we've learned, then we didn't really learn anything at all. Knowledge retention is really, the statistics are really kind of amazing, actually. So you would think, right, if you hear it, what percentage is actually retained when you go to something? And this part is really great, and it's going to apply to what we're talking about later. So just follow me here, okay? Knowledge retention. When you hear something, about 7 to 8% of it is retained. When you write it down and hear it, then you have a 20 to 25% retention rate. Now, when you teach what you've written down and heard, when you hear it, write it, and teach it, your knowledge retention goes up to 75%. So what I'm saying is that when you go back to your stores and you're looking for ways to be more efficient, or you're looking for ways to implement what you've learned here today, the best way for you to do that is going to be to teach what you've learned here today, to share what you learn here today, not just from me or when you listen to anyone at a conference or in a webinar. That's how you're really going to retain the knowledge, is to share it with your team. Also, really, the only way for you to have success when you're looking to transform your business. So the value of communication, right? We talked about learning, knowledge retention, and now the value of communication. Verbal. When you hear something, 7%. You can see the value of it, not see, you can hear the value of that communication. Tonality. So what they say is only about 7% of the value. Tonality is how they say it. So how they say it, 38%. I'm struggling with this tonality issue in my personal life right now. My son just turned 13. And a lot of times when he says, "Coming, Mom," his tone is quite different. So the message that comes across to me is completely and totally different value than what he may or may not have intended it to be. And then last but not least, the way that we can give the value of what we're communicating most efficiently is kinetics. So 55% of how that is communicated to someone, how your message is communicated, is kinetic. That means your body language. That is why you can have a lot more clarity when you do a face-to-face as opposed to sending an email. Anybody in this room ever sent an email to the team or to whatever, and it got completely and totally misinterpreted and turned into a big dramatic thing, and it didn't even need to be that? Right? That happens. But when we sit down face-to-face with someone, it's a lot easier to get our message across and have a good understanding. So, how does that all apply to what we're going to be talking about? The 0 moment retail. All right, Jennifer, still not exactly sure what that is. So let's dive in. 0 moment of retail is simple. In 2011, Google put out their study. I didn't make up 0 moment of truth. I didn't do that. I'd like to have that claim to fame, but I tell you what, I'd probably be sitting on a beach somewhere. So Google did the study in 2011, and it says that the length of the automotive purchase process is approximately 1 year, right? And the phases of that, and these slides, folks, are right from Google study. So if you'd like to pick them up or you'd like to see the full study, I'd be happy to share the link with you, or you can just go to Google 0 moment of truth study and it will pop right up for you. So when we look at this section is considered stimulus. This is 1 year to about 1 month. This is the stimulus phase. Now, when we look at the next section, that is consideration. And then we've got our 0 moment. And this little tiny section here, folks, is, ta-da, the zero moment. So I'm going to jump back for you because I want to talk a little bit about how we invest our money. So we can see the sections. So as the automotive purchase process starts in the stimulus phase, this is actually where 95% of the dollars are spent. This, in our industry, we spend a lot of money. $55 billion across Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3 are spent advertising for automotive retail. 95% of the dealer's investments are spent in the stimulus phase. So let's talk about $55 billion, right? Let's just go ahead and automatically assume that half of that is the OEM. So that is $27.5 billion left between Tier 2 and Tier 3. If you think what your investment is in your store, so whatever that dollar is for you, if it's $20,000, if it's $50,000, if it's $100,000 in advertising expense, if you're following most retail dealerships' advertising strategies, 95% of that money is spent here in stimulus. So that is where we're fishing as an automotive retail industry. And that's where we were fishing before the market crashed as well. So what we did when we moved over, of course, they're considering between that 1 month and 2 weeks, or 2 months and 2 weeks there, they're considering. Now, when they reach this point, it's amazing how little dollars are spent there. If you can see the graph behind my zero moment image, there's not much money spent there. We're talking about that remaining 5% is spread between consideration and zero moment, and you can tell by the graph, it's not a lot of dollars. So what we did, all of our investment is there. So if we look at the total dollars spent, a good portion of that will be us and our dealer clients. So when we look at this funnel, right, because I still believe in a funnel, I still believe that there is a way that you narrow down and come down that funnel when you're buying something, whether it's a car or a camera, for your process consideration. So in that, right, in that stimulus phase, people are thinking about what they want. They're looking at different options, why they want it. And that's also your consideration, right? 1, awareness or pre-awareness, right? We're doing some messaging and branding before they even know they need a vehicle. 2 is awareness. And then research and familiarity. They're looking at opinions and reviews and those types of things. And then they're trying to consider which one and why they want it. Well, when they move into the zero moment, they've already made the decision of what they want, pretty much. I'm not talking right down to a trim package, folks. I'm talking about they know what they want. They have an idea of where they need to be as far as what they can spend. They've already gone through all of that. Now the only thing they have left to decide is where to buy it. That is the only thing that is left after they've gone through the stimulus and the consideration phase. And I will tell you, folks, this is where we invest our advertising dollars. Why on earth should we, as retail automotive operators, care about this whole entire study in this funnel? Why should you care? I'm going to share a new word with you guys. I just learned this word recently. I'm having a lot of fun with it, and this is why you should care. Nomophobia. So it is not a fear. There's no G in front of it. This is not a fear of little garden gnomes, although sometimes they do look a little bit creepy. This is the fear of being without mobile device contact. Has anybody ever left their phone on the kitchen counter and run into the other room or down the hall and realized that they forgot it and you panic for a minute? I know that happens to me. I know that it happens to a lot of us. Nomophobia. This is a fun graphic that I've got in here that we've pulled down. So 66% of people sleep without their phone or sleep with their phones. Can you believe that? We have this fear, and this fear is growing from 4 years ago to this year. It's increased from 53% to 66% of people say they are afraid of being without their phone. So when you think about that, and 72% of people are within 5 feet of their smartphones for the majority of their day, right? We've got this information, the IoT. Anybody know the IoT, the information, the Internet of Things, right? This is how information is shared and connected. We have smart cars. We have smart homes. We have smart energy grids. We have all of this networking. So here we have our mobile devices that can connect to our phones, that will connect to the dealership, that connects to the freaking street lights. Everything is connected. This is the Internet of Things. And that's why we should care. Folks, people are connected to their telephones, to their smartphones. 72% of people are not more than 5 feet away from it for the majority of their day. And where are we spending our money? Are we spending it on TV? Are we spending it on radio? Are we spending it on newspaper? How often, what percentage of their day are they connected to those devices? Folks, we were there. We were spending money there, and that's not where people are. This is why you care about nomophobia and about when they reach the time when they're ready to purchase a vehicle and are deciding where. Why play where people are? We have decided that we will be right where they are. We're going to be on digital. We're going to be online, and we're going to use the information that we gather from the Internet of Things in order to better serve our customers. So here are the rules of engagement that we have when we are making advertising investments. And this is something that you've got to take a look at. This is something that I challenge a lot of dealers to look and decide when you're making those investments and figure out. Our rule of engagement is any ad that we do has to have one click, touch, action, direct to me, direct to my dealer website. Because when we went digital at first, I will tell you that we really weren't sure. And just like so many people, we had a website and we were spending money on AutoTrader, right? That's what we thought digital was before we made the transition to a zero-moment retail strategy. So now our rules of engagement are one click, touch, action, direct to our website and nowhere else. Integration, weaponization of active in-market digital retail strategy. What does that mean? In-market, I am looking at in-market buyers. I'm not looking at the high funnel stuff. I am looking at folks when they are ready to purchase a vehicle. And here's the thing. That's great as far as advertising goes. Google gave us the information that we need to be able to do that. So, but here's what I'm going to talk to you about today, guys. I am going to talk to you about your retail strategy. Yes, you can drive the traffic, but when you're driving buyers to your store, not people who are in the consideration or the stimulus phase of their process, people who have already decided and they are ready to buy a vehicle. Are you, as a dealer, ready? So, target and secure in-market buyers. This is the advertising portion that we're talking about. So, when we are looking to bring those in, we're targeting, right? That's the marketing. Securing them is our retail operations. And are we ready to do that in our stores? When someone raises their hand and says, I am ready to purchase a vehicle, can I purchase it from you? Because if they submit you a, air quotes here, lead, if they submit you a lead, they are ready to engage with you. The number one issue that I see and that we had, and I still see across the board with your digital results and getting a great return on your investment, is that you are not treating them like in-market buyers. You're targeting, maybe not, most of you are not. If you are investing in one of the very big listings out there, and we were spending about $300,000 on this big third-party platform. But it wasn't targeting those buyers for us. It was keeping them on their website. So that's when we go back and we talk about one-click action direct to the dealer site. That's how you can target and you secure those buyers. You're not going to let them go anywhere else. But regardless of when or where you're trying to target your buyers, when you get them, are you letting them wait for 15 or 20 minutes? Are you saying, hey, who's got that lead? Oh, guys, there's a lead. It's been sitting there for like 25 minutes. Can somebody please handle that lead? You're never going to secure a buyer by calling them a lead. Think about it this way. If someone were to walk into the showroom and they stood there for 10 or 15 minutes, would you yell across the showroom and say, hey, Fred, we have a lead standing at the front door. Can you go help him? I don't think so. There's a customer. There's a buyer. First of all, if you saw someone standing in your showroom floor, and they were waiting for 10 or 15 minutes, you would probably be a little bit less friendly on how you told Fred to get on it and help that person. But we don't treat our in-market digital retail buyers that way. We treat them completely different. But if you're targeting them the right way, they are buyers. It is not a lead. Stop calling it a lead. As dealers, one thing I am going to tell you is that it is your data. It is your information. And a lot of times we're reliant upon other people to tell us how well their products are performing for us. It is your data. Being 100% responsible means you need to know it and own it. How many of you can actually tell me, without Googling it or getting into the CRM right now to check off the top of your head, how many leads, air quotes, how many internet buyers did you have opportunities with last month? Do you know? How many showroom ups did you have last month? Do you know? That's your data. Those things are inside of your software right now, and they are integral to you weaponizing your digital strategy. You need to know those numbers. And if you're not the one that's retrieving them every single day, someone in your store needs to be. In order to be on top and maximize on these opportunities, you have to know what you're working with. And I will tell you, we didn't know when we started. So I am not, again, I'm going back to this contract that I've made with you, that it is going to be up front. We didn't know either. We had to start at start. We say this all of the time. You're going to hear it from me. You're going to hear it from Eric. You'll hear it from Bobby, from Ashley, from everybody on our ZMOT team. You must start somewhere. And I will let you know, folks, it is not pretty when you start. But taking the step to knowing the numbers, to looking at the statistics, to finding out where you are performance-wise is the first step, and it is scary. And if you have a hard time doing it, let me know. Call me, reach out to me, because when you start digging in and you start looking at these numbers, I assure you, you are going to get mad. Don't get mad at your people. They are doing the best that they can with what they've been given. But it is our jobs as the dealer to take action and make sure that we shift our thinking and that we are actually ready to provide them with opportunities. Because when you start digging in and you start looking at this stuff, you may see that you're getting 300 leads from XYZ third-party platform, and your team is trying to work them the best that they know how, or the best that they've been supported. And so they're not getting the results that you want, and the closing rates aren't going to be pretty, and you're going to sit there and you're going to be thinking about all that money that is sitting in a pile burning up. but resist the opportunity to freak out and fire anybody, because we have to own it. And here's what owning it is. It's shifting away from thinking, get out of the lead business, right? We mentioned that. We're going to talk about that again in a minute. Shift your thinking away from the big platforms. And what I want you to start thinking about is where you should be playing for zero moment digital retail. You need to be in a targeted consumer campaign. I talked about targeting and securing in-market buyers. Read the Google study. All of the information is available to you. It is available to advertising partners out there. You can tailor your strategy to in-market buyers. So we have classified listings. I'm not talking about Auto Trader or Cars.com. Those are classified listings, but there are thousands of local classified listing digital properties in your area that are relevant to people who are searching in your area. Are you looking at those? And when we look at classified listings, because somebody said Craigslist one time. Oh, well, Craigslist, man, you just get a bunch of people who want a cheap car, and they don't really want to negotiate on price. They want this, they want that. I don't want to deal with those people. They're crappy cars, they're whatever. And I say, if you're talking about Craigslist as part of a strategy, what kind of cars are you listing on Craigslist? Are you listing your entire inventory? Are you working with a provider that just takes your inventory feed and sprays your entire car lot on Craigslist? Well, that's not a strategy. That's set it and forget it. I wouldn't advertise my entire inventory on Craigslist, but I am going to look at units that I might be taking a wholesale loss on, and I'm going to put those on Craigslist and see if I can retail out of them first. I might have a budget lot. I might actually have some inventory that fits that audience, that targets the consumers that are on Craigslist. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah. We as dealers can't rely upon our marketing vendors to know that part of the strategy. They are supposed to help us. But as a car dealer who's been through this and has come to the conclusion that if I'm not driving the ship of my strategy, I can't expect a vendor to do it. So take control of your strategy. And again, these are ways that you can do it. So blog content. If you don't have a blog, you need to get a blog. Do it in-house. Find somebody to do it. You need to have that content. You need to be talking about your cars and talking about your dealership. That is how you're going to get traction with these in-market buyers on a digital landscape. We're talking about social engagement. We're talking about chat. Conquesting consumers, geofencing, video, Spanish, English, text marketing, text communication, and a loyalty app. Folks, if you haven't looked at a loyalty app, at building one for your stores yet, I will strongly encourage you to take a look. So those of you who know who I am, or if you've researched me before getting this or seeing me speak somewhere, you will know that I am an Automotive News 40 Under 40 Retail Award winner. One of the components that enabled me to receive that award was when I was with Feldman Automotive Group in the Detroit area, 8-store group in Metro Detroit, and with 5 Chevy stores, 2 Hyundais, and a Kia. And I took our internet department there to some great success. We made an additional $9 million in gross profits on the front end in about 10 months with some changes that we did there. And the crazy thing about that was, even though we were growing, I doubled the group's volume. That was my goal when I got there. I wanted to take them from 850 units to 1,600, 1,700 units. It took me a bit, but we did it. What I learned along the way, though, where I thought I was doing a fantastic job. Sales volumes were up, profits were up. Man, the owner was happy. We were making a lot more money. But when I started to look, I participated in a pilot program with General Motors because we had the 5 Chevy stores. And what this showed me was the owner loyalty, propension, and dissension rates. So what's my erosion, right? What am I losing? So while we were growing rapidly, our erosion was ridiculous. And folks, I will tell you that on average, a dealership's erosion is 75%. Now, for you franchise dealers, you're probably thinking, oh, no. My OEM gives me that reporting. I know that I'm not that bad. I'm not losing 75%. And here's what I'm going to say to you on that. I will tell you that that's only your new car numbers. They're not looking at your pre-owned. You roll pre-owned into that, on average, you're going to be more at a 75% erosion. And we cannot, as dealers, afford to do that. When you look at the cost to sell a car, a conquest customer, a new customer that you're bringing in costs you more to advertise to get them to come in, and they're going to give you less gross on the deal. So for us, and I will strongly encourage for you because I know a lot of dealers are not doing this, we put in a loyalty app. It's part of our digital strategy because we want to actively go after our current consumer base. They know us and they trust us. It costs me less to get them to purchase a vehicle, and they're going to allow me a higher gross, folks. This is an area where a lot of stores are missing it. And when you put together your digital strategy, you need to look at a loyalty app. That is how you can truly, from front to back, put together a 100% integrated marketing strategy. So, I'm going to tell you, when you put together an integrated digital marketing strategy, that's fantastic and that is awesome. And I am so excited and I'm happy to help every single one of you with that. You know, we've done it. We have our company, ZMod Auto, that does it. That is the whole purpose of them. It was our internal department that we have now offered externally. But before you do that, before you shift around, change your marketing strategy, invest more, invest less, whatever it is going to do, you have got to change the way that you look at things. And the things that you look at will change. Like I said earlier, when you leave here, I want you to go back to your dealership and I want you to have that passion and that fire for efficiency. Efficiency isn't fun, Jennifer. You know what? You're right. Efficiency isn't fun. It's hard work. But having a bigger number on the bottom of that statement, that's fun. Because that means either I can take a better vacation, or if you're a crazy workaholic like me, which I think so many of us in retail operations are, heck, maybe I can buy another store. Yay! More work, right? But when you change the way that you look at things, the things you look at are going to change. First place for you to start when we talk about that, folks, I already hinted at it or straight up said it, leads. Why are we calling them leads? We put together a great strategy. We're attracting buyers. We need to stop calling them leads. Right now, in your stores, go back today. If this is the only thing that you change, I promise you will have an increase in your sales. So, start calling them buyers. These are people who are ready to buy a car. They are deciding whether or not you are the place to buy it. So when those in-market digital opportunities come into your store, treat them like buyers. And I want you, even more so than just not treating them like a lead, I want you to crown that buyer. I want you to create a fantastic, outstanding experience for them. One of the things that you'll hear us from Cardinale Automotive Group talk about is we talk about how we are not a transactional dealer. We are in the experiential retail business. We deliver outstanding relationships where everybody wins. And to do that for us, that means our process is different. We open our arms. We are creating wow moments. We are crowning our buyers. From the moment that opportunity comes in, our teams are trained with the customer's experience in mind, and that is how we attack. That is the last component of our integrated digital retail strategy, folks. It's not all just how you attract the opportunities. It is, are you ready to create a wow experience for that buyer? And when you start looking at your responses, get into your CRM right now if you want. Break out your tablet, your laptop, your phone, your whatever it is that you look, and look at yesterday's desk log. filter it down just to your internet, right? Your digital opportunities. And look and see how your staff, how your team, how your associates responded to that buyer. Did they talk to them like they were a buyer, or did they treat them like a lead? Did they send a templated response that didn't even answer the consumer's question? Folks, we're not treating them like buyers. We're treating them like leads, and that's no way to have profit. I will go out there and I will say that is one of the reasons why most dealers think you cannot have a decent gross profit on an internet deal. Well, if you treat them like they're just a number, they are going to work you for the numbers. But if you treat them like a valued member, like you have a great relationship, you are building a relationship with this buyer, and you crown them and give them a custom response. You answer their questions. You envelop them with this wow experience. That is when you win, and that's where you can hold gross. But folks, I will tell you, when you go back to your stores, and I'm not going to give you a big long section on how to handle your leads. My associate, Bobby Heron, has a presentation that you probably have already requested that talks about how to handle them. But what I'm going to tell you is that a lot of us are not doing it the right way. And we're spending a ton of money in our stores to attract those buyers. But we are not ready as retailers. We are not practicing zero moment retail, which means as soon as somebody raises their hand and says they're ready to buy a car, I am ready to go to work. And I am responsible for delivering the experience that is going to close that deal. I can say that I know that that's not happening, folks, because anyone who knows the national average for the number of days it takes to close one of these opportunities. You have internet departments, whether it's a BDC, it's cradle to grave, it's a hybrid structure. We all have, air quotes, internet departments in our stores. And for most of them who are targeting and securing according to regular strategies, to what is, I don't want to call it regular, that's terrible, folks, according to what is most commonly happening. It's 52 days in order to sell that car. You've heard it before. It takes 30, 60, 90 days in some cases to work these internet leads, again, air quotes here. 52 days on average to close these deals, folks. Your team is beating their heads against the wall trying to get those folks to come in and buy a car because they don't have the right strategy. Some of you may have a better strategy, that's fantastic, but go in and look, and what is your average days to sold? I will let you know, for those of you who may or may not buy in to what we're talking about when we talk about zero moment of retail science, my average days to buy, our average days to buy at Cardinale Automotive Group and for Zima strategy, 5.4 days. From 52 days to less than 5.5 days is our average. And that is because we have a fully integrated in-market retail strategy. It is our zero moment of retail. It is sales, science, and customer service. That is how we do it. And if there is anything else that you are curious about finding out about how that we as an automotive group have developed and come to be the second highest internet sales volume dealer in all of North America, all you have to do is ask. Just ask. We say that all the time. Here's a little bit of information about me. You can read it. You'll have the deck, right? You can freeze frame. You can have the attachment and look at it later. It just kind of tells you what I've been through, and I'm more than happy to help you when you ask. Just raise your hand. That's how we learned. We learned along our careers, and we learned as an automotive group, and other dealers helped us. So as you listen to this and you think, oh my gosh, but how do I do this and where do I start, Jennifer? Reach out to me, and I would be more than happy to tell you and dig in with you and help you to look at where exactly it is that you start. My contact information is right here below. or below on the screen. You have my phone number. Text message is the best way to reach me. A lot of times I am at speaking events or I'm in the stores training, working the desk, doing whatever. So shoot me a text message, send me an email, or you can find me on Twitter at Next Level Briggs. Look me up on Facebook too. I'm more than happy to help. A lot of times people will ask questions and post it. You're not the only one who's had the question. So I love to answer questions like that on Facebook because we can help a lot of dealers at the same time. Now, folks, again, I will just wrap up here really quickly. We're a car dealer. We're not a marketing vendor. We're not, we're not one of these guys. And I love you guys. We have great partners on the marketing side and on the software side. We have a lot of fantastic partners that we've worked with along the years. But you and I both know, and we can be honest here, it's an upfront commitment I made to you, is that as a car dealer, things look differently and our strategies are different. And a lot of times, no matter how much our vendor partners want to help us, they can't because it has to come from us. The strategy has to come from us. A lot of them have never sold a car before, guys, so don't beat them up. Look at yourself first. And that's what we had to do. And we determined that it would be easier for us to take control of that because we know the steps. We know the experience we want to build. We know what we want that retail process to look like. And I'm more than happy to help you start at start. So the first thing you have to do is just ask. And I can talk to you about the marketing products. I can talk to you about our retail strategy. I can share with you resources that we have and that we've developed over the years. And I am happy to do any one of those things. All you got to do is ask. Thank you. So excited to talk to you about this today. I hope you found this helpful. And again, if you need any assistance with what you've seen here in the presentation, shoot me a text message at 517-366-0219. Find me on Twitter at Next Level Briggs or shoot me an email, jbriggs@cardinaleway.com. Have a fantastic day.